Shane, good to see you. I have a question that's been on my mind. Should I invest in gold? Investors who are concerned about a recession are putting their money in safe havens, and gold is usually seen as a safe haven when markets and economies are facing headwinds. And during periods of high inflation, gold is often seen as a hedge. So we are certainly living in uncertain times. Does investing in gold make sense right now?
Aaron, there is stability in gold, right? But I still don't think it really made sense. And here's kind of my thoughts on the idea of buying gold. Usually, this is something that comes up during times of uncertainty like we're in right now. We're seeing
Mhm.
conflict in the Middle East, we're seeing a lot of economic uncertainty at home. Problem is, the gold sale comes about as a fear sale, right? You want to be the guy with the gold so that when the US government and the economy collapses and the US dollar collapses, that you got gold, and gold always has value. And there's some truth to that, but there's a lot more to the story. And I think people fail to think about the fact that if you have this gold, and typically those people like to tell everyone that I'm in gold because it's the smart idea. If you're telling everyone that you're in gold, people are going to know about it. If the worst of the worst happens and everyone knows you, the guy with gold, they're going to probably find a way to come get that gold, right? And we can go down a rabbit hole about that. But how secure is it? How do you take that gold to the grocery store one day when when doomsday comes and buy groceries with it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I just don't see it as the most practical thing. It makes sense when you're talking about your doomsday conversation with your buddies, but in reality, I don't really think it has a lot of upside to it.
Okay. So I understand speaking to the doomsday here, but of course, when investors fear investing in stocks, they flock to gold, which does increase its value. So, since we may still see a recession, should I buy gold now, maybe even as an investment to beat the herd?
Well, here's the thing, and I know you have a chart to bring up in a little while. We can see that gold markets overall really don't compete efficiently or effectively with overall markets. So if you're trying to accumulate money and build a portfolio, not sure how much sense it makes. Now you can see that in this chart, it's pretty stable, right? So if the market drops, you might have some stability there, but you're definitely not going to get a ton of growth out of it.
Okay. So, the question is then, if I do choose that I want maybe some exposure to gold, how do I invest in it? Or, like I just saw come across my newsfeed, Shane, because I thought this was incredible. Costco is selling out of gold bars when they're for sale every few hours. So, I mean, should I be buying the bars?
Right, and that's fascinating, isn't it? How people are buying the gold. And
Yeah.
again, there's nothing. I don't want to come off like I'm saying that it's an absolutely horrible idea, but I just want you to think about all ideas that come along with buying the gold, right? So, Costco, of course, when they're selling this to you, they have to make a little bit of money in there too. Now that it's being talked about on the news, it's becoming kind of trendy. Everyone's jumping on the idea of buying gold. It's going to drive the gold price up. Simple supply and demand, right? If there's less available, the price is going to go up. So does that mean you're buying it high and one day you're going to sell it even higher? That would be the goal. But if you're buying it high and you wind up selling it low, that's not necessarily a good idea.
Mhm.
If you want to get involved in some gold investing, the thing that I would recommend is using some ETFs and some other vehicles that exist out there that track gold markets specifically and the values of gold, allow you to participate in the changes in the price of gold, but without actually getting involved in going to Costco and buying bars and having to hide them under your bed. It's a much
Right.
easier way to hold gold, and it's a much more liquid way. It can be very easily liquidated and turned back into cash within a portfolio in
Mhm.
no time at all.
Mhm. So I think you've answered this already, but I want to ask it again because it's important. What if maximizing the growth of my investments is my priority?
Back to that chart we were just talking about. If you want to grow your portfolio, then you want to be involved in properly structured, properly allocated portfolios that are designed for growth, right? And you can see that the gold market simply can't compete with those benchmarks shown in that graph. So gold's not the place for growth. It can be a place for security if you're worried about the stock market overall. But if you want growth, I would not participate in the gold world.
Yeah, sorry, I have some gremlins, Shane. That's why it took a while for that to come up. But yeah, as we can see here, as you just mentioned, it's stable, but it's not going to make you rich.
Right.
Okay. This was fun to talk through again. I always appreciate talking through the headlines. If somebody wants to talk about stable investments with you, though, what's the best way to reach you?
Best way to reach us is by phone or online. Phone number here is 602-456-1928, or visit us online at winstonandcompanies.com.
All right. Shane, thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.